MotorWeek is made possible by Auto Value and Bumper to Bumper and TireRack.com.
But you know, Beth, despite Audi's big plans, they've been having a lot of troubles here in the U.S.
Well, it's true Audi sales haven't been very good lately. So apparently the new 4 and 5000 will compete in a more rarefied atmosphere with BMW and Mercedes-Benz. Now that's where the prices are higher and the profit margins wider.
Okay. Thanks, Beth.
You're welcome, John.
And from that, we go to a car with a name that doesn't mean big bucks. But it is one of those models that makes you try to figure out just where it got its name. After all, where did Mazda get the 323 part? Now, if you haven't been paying attention, the 323 is Mazda's entry into the crowded front-drive subcompact category. It's the successor to the GLC, a name that was supposed to mean great little car. So why not just keep that name? Well, we figure it's mostly because Mazda wanted to make sure people knew that their small car had changed a lot. But why the numbers 323? Well, we have some thoughts on that too. Mazda unveiled the front-drive 323 sedan and hatchback a year ago. And it didn't take long to see that the 323's marketing approach would be tied closely to the excellent reputation of the larger 626. So naturally, the subcompact's name should be in the same vein. Buyers were supposed to view the 323 as a sort of junior 626, but that is the best way to describe the car. 323 styling is definitely similar to the 626. Both sport flush lamps, a horizontal ribbed grille, and wraparound parking lamps. The wheel patterns are also familiar, as is the rear door glass treatment and higher arching trunk of the four-door sedan. The resemblance continues inside. Both have large center and outboard dash vents and a deep driver's instrument pod. Most frequently used controls and a coin holder are located around its fringe. There's a clear, if still incomplete, set of gauges and stacked climate and stereo units above the shifter storage console. The attractively covered and comfortable front seats have side and thigh bolsters. They're just high enough to hold you firmly in place during turns without giving you the pinned-in feeling of some sporty sedans. What was that phrase? Sporty sedan? Well, that's the real message of the 323-626 kinship, and it continues with the 5-speed shifter. A little notchy on quick shifts, throws are reasonably short, and except when going from third to fourth, the feel is precise. Power for all 323s comes from a willing 1.6-liter 4 with port fuel injection, significant since most subcompacts still use carburetors. The engine fits easily into the wide bay, and engine checkpoints and belts are more accessible than average. Output is also above norm, 82 horses and 92 pound-feet of torque. In straight-line performance, this 3-door managed 0 to 60 in 11.1 seconds. Competitors have trouble doing it in under 14. There are limits, though, since gearing and torque favor the low RPM range. Still, a quarter mile of 17.9 seconds is comparable to subcompacts with 25% larger engines. But if we had to give pause in our praise of the 323, it would be in handling, and then only a slight pause. The skinny 13-inch tires let go well before the all-independent suspension has reached its limits. Body roll is minimal for its class. Road feel with both the standard non-assisted and the optional power steering is good. Brakes also lived up to the sporty family car theme. The power disc drum arrangement produced a good fade-free stopping average of 125 feet from 55. And the 323s are comfortable highway machines. A sound level of 69 rates well. The 5-speed fuel economy estimates of 28 city and 34 highway are lower than some cars in its class. But our test loop mileage of 29 is an acceptable trade-off for a small car with such fine performance manners. We've actually driven all 3 body styles of the 323, including the 5-door station wagon added for 1987. It will also probably set new standards for the subcompact class. A trim exterior seems marred only by the absence of a right-hand rearview mirror. On the other hand, the single-piece rear hatch has an inside lock and opens upward high enough for walk-under loading, unless you're Wilt Chamberlain. Inside, there is generous room for 4 adults and 25 cubic feet of cargo. Fold the 60/40 rear seat flat for over twice the load. The power two-way sunroof retracts and tilts, and then uses a louvered sunshade to keep the glare out while allowing air to circulate. The wagon's extra size does pull its acceleration and handling performance down, but not by much. And more important for most wagon buyers is its parking lot agility. A 33-foot curb-to-curb turning diameter is very good for a front-drive car. So not surprisingly, maneuverability rates high on our list of 323 hits. So does comfort and utility, especially for the wagon. And don't forget above-average power and braking abilities. Misses were few and minor, but did include no right-hand mirror for most models, also skinny tires and a cable shifter that still needs work. The 323s have been seriously affected by the unbalanced dollar-yen exchange rate. While the base car starts at $6,200, that's $700 more than last year. A wagon with popular options like air conditioning and automatic transmission will set you back over 10 grand. Before any dealer add-ons and markups. That's not inexpensive for a subcompact wagon. Maybe that's why Mercury, which next spring will begin selling a 323 variant called the Tracer in the U.S., will try to convince buyers the car is not another entry-level subcompact. And maybe that's also why Mazda has tied its new 323 design to the 626. We think it's a smart move, since the subject performs well enough to match the rhetoric. Well, we'll have more of our own rhetoric in store next week. In the meantime, we're always glad to hear from you. Our address is MotorWeek, Owings Mills, Maryland, 21117. That's MotorWeek, Owings Mills, Maryland, 21117. And we'll see you next time.